August 1st, 2025. The White House Situation Room is tense. On the screens, global markets in turmoil. The US has just slapped a 50% tariff on Brazilian goods, an economic declaration of war, not a negotiation tactic. Officially, it's about politics and the Bolsonaro trial, but everyone knows it's a direct challenge to the BRICS bloc's growing power. Commodities markets, coffee, soybeans, iron ore, plunge into chaos. The administration frames it as defending American interests, warning any nation moving away from the dollar or US-led trade will face overwhelming force. This is a dramatic escalation, targeting not just Brazil, but all BRICS members, China, India, Russia. The US believes its economic might can force compliance, but the world has changed. BRICS nations are now economic powerhouses. As the first day ends, Washington officials watch the fallout, knowing they've fired the opening shot in a new global conflict. The world holds its breath, waiting for the BRICS response. September 19, 2025. The world is on edge, but a massive BRICS-wide tariff retaliation hasn't happened, yet. Instead, the bloc presents a unified political front. At an emergency Rio summit, BRICS leaders condemn the US move as economic coercion and a violation of global trade rules. China and India call for a fair, rules-based system, denouncing protectionism. Behind the scenes, the bloc is preparing. China could restrict rare earth exports, Russia could leverage energy, and Brazil is deepening ties with China. The group's internal divisions may prevent a blanket response, but targeted, asymmetrical retaliation is likely. Brazil's new tax office in Beijing signals a pivot away from Western channels. With new BRICS partners like Indonesia and Malaysia, the bloc's economic power is growing. The world watches for signs of escalation. Preparations are underway, even if the counterpunch hasn't landed. The absence of immediate retaliation doesn't mean it isn't coming. If this standoff erupts into a full trade war, the US faces severe consequences. A 100% tariff on BRICS imports, met with retaliation, could slash hundreds of billions from US GDP and trigger a recession. American consumers would see prices spike on everything from electronics to food, adding up to 2% to inflation. Exporters would lose access to massive BRICS markets, devastating for farmers and manufacturers. Small businesses unable to absorb higher costs would be hit hard, leading to layoffs and closures. The pain would ripple through the economy, higher prices, lost jobs, and shrinking investment. This isn't just a corporate problem. Workers, families, and communities would all pay the price. The cost of conflict would be felt in every corner of America. The US-BRICS trade war is reshaping global alliances and rattling markets. Instead of isolating BRICS, US tariffs are pushing them closer and attracting new partners like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Brazil and China's partnership is now indestructible, with China investing in Brazilian infrastructure and industry. New trade corridors bypass US influence, building a parallel economic system. Financial markets are bracing for volatility. The threat of BRICS retaliation is already spooking investors. The biggest risk? De-dollarization. If BRICS trade in their own currencies, the US dollar's dominance and America's financial power could erode. A weaker dollar would mean higher borrowing costs and less global influence for the US. Fragile supply chains could collapse under new barriers, causing shortages and production halts. The result: economic chaos, market crashes, and a global crisis with unpredictable consequences. This is more than a trade dispute, it's a seismic shift in the world order. A full-scale trade war with BRICS is daunting, but the US has options. The BRICS response may be fragmented, with some nations choosing targeted tariffs and others seeking diplomatic solutions. The US government can deploy aid, retraining, and incentives to help affected workers and industries. The Federal Reserve could adjust interest rates to fight inflation or stimulate growth. Targeted subsidies could keep key sectors like agriculture and tech competitive. American companies may adapt by shifting supply chains to countries outside the conflict like Mexico or Vietnam. Exporters could seek new markets in Africa or Latin America to offset lost BRICS sales. Rising prices might boost demand for US-made goods, fueling a Buy American movement. These measures offer hope, but none are easy or guaranteed. The outcome depends on how quickly and decisively the US acts. The world stands at a crossroads, facing a new era of economic uncertainty. Will BRICS escalate with coordinated retaliation, or choose targeted pressure and diplomacy? How will US industries and consumers respond to the shock? Can they adapt, or will the pain force a policy reversal? Global institutions like the WTO and central banks face a crucial test. Can they stabilize the system, or will they be sidelined? The stakes are enormous. Is this the start of deglobalization, or a shift toward a new multipolar order? The conflict is about more than tariffs. It's about who sets the rules for the 21st century global economy. For now, the world can only watch, wait, and wonder what comes next. Welcome back to Universal Insight. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more updates.